Okay. Oh, the Tech War. William Shatner. Boldly go where no tech war AI has gone before. Because this is kind of AI, artificial virtual reality sort of movie, I think. Never sort of thought about buying it before. Oh, it plays. It actually plays. The times. Oh wow. Oh yeah, wow. Picture looks pretty good. Yeah, of course it always looks good on the opening of the That's it, we've got sound going through the a little bit on the soft side, we need to take up gain levels. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow, and it's got bass on it. It's got bass on this. Wow. Tech war. It's all about tech. Oh wow, sound pannings are good there. It's gonna take a while for this to warm up. Yeah, wow, that looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good, that does. That's pretty good. Wow. Tech War. William Shatner. William Shatner, Tech. Wow. Wow. Captain Kirk. Flipping Captain Kirk. It's not a bad laserdisc transfer. You know, for laserdisc, you know? It's not bad. Oh wow, look at that. So, wow, that was good. All these little sounds, all these little pannings and fixed sound positions and music score. Wow. And of course, it's got William Shatner in it.
Several times in the line of duty.
Excuse me, what? Sheena Easton? Special appearance, Sheena Easton. For your eyes only, the laser disc is for your eyes. Oh, and bloody William Shatner, for crying out loud. William Shatner. William Shatner.
Convicted on conspiracy to sell and distribute tech.
Oh, that's pretty clever. That. Oh wow, look at these visual effects. They're pretty good.
Heavy user at the time of his arrest. Court finds you guilty and sentences you to 15 years in cryogenic incarceration.
Oh wow, this movie's a bit like the Demolition Man. Sort of AI virtual reality technology.
I'm going to recommend against release at this time.
Wow.
Who do you want to see?
Wow. Oh wow.
How old is your son? He was 11 when you underwent cryosubmersion. He's now 15.
15. How long was I? 4 years, 3 months, and 27 days. He said to Mick, did anybody else want the job? I consider Mick an insult. So
It's a bit.
Welcome back, Mr. Carrigan.
It's a bit of a cliche, this tech war to sort of Demolition Man. With a kind of Johnny Banonic virtual reality sort of AI sort of thing, because cliches, they just run out of ideas after a while, and they got to come up with something. Try this, we'll modify it,
one for each day of your imprisonment.
sort of thing, but
Tech burns. They fly so high on the new junk they overload and cook their neurons.
But wow, the picture's surprisingly laserdisc quality. Oh wow, look at these visual effects, they're pretty good. They're very good, these visual effects. They're holographic images, and
My sentence was 15 years, 1 year release. Maybe it was for good behavior.
yeah, so they wake up some guy, bring him into the future, sort of thing, and just like Demolition Man. Because Demolition Man was, I think it was about a year before the tech war, or so, but it was early 90s, I think. Yeah, not too bad on that bit there. The skin tone colour on this transfer looks okay. Yeah.
Good advice, Mr. Cardigan.
I embrace the laserdisc
You'll be watched.
Can't really stand this AI James Cameron stuff he's doing at the moment. Really can't stand it. I can't watch that Abyss. Can't watch that 4K Abyss.
No one else would take the job.
Just looks so plasticky and synthetic, and it just doesn't look right. It just doesn't give me the pinch of getting a flashback. Why don't they release this AI technology, this AI DNR, whatever they've used for the film transfer to botch it up, the image, to botch up the image? Why don't they just sell it as a separate box so that you could use, yeah? But then there's no logic to that. Nearly every AVR has got a DNR feature, or some Blu-ray players or such have noise filters and such, to so why are they applying? Because once you've applied all this crap to this Cameron 4K crap feast, you can't undo it. It's stuck there on the disc and you can't undo it. It might as well just leave it with all the grain and everything. And if people are dissatisfied with, oh, it looks noisy with grain, but it was filmed on film. It wasn't filmed digitally, where that's going to have its own set of artifacts. And depending on how fine and great the bloody pixels are, I suppose. But why don't they just leave it? And then if someone, like, say, dissatisfied, turn on the bloody DNR on your AVR and then apply it with a waxy image. And of course, when the images start moving around, of course, when you've got a DNR turned on, it has this very terrible motion smur artifact. So don't really win, really. Sort of, it stuck with yeah. I think that's what. I think it's just leave it alone. But I doubt what they're using at the moment would be in use in a few years' time, because they'll phase it out and they'll have another Mark II, Mark III version, or they'll phase it out, delete it, obsolete it, and have it replaced with something else from another manufacturer, and it just keeps going on and on. If you just release a title how it actually looks, 1-to-1 on the picture side, 1-to-1 on the sound, there's no need to release that title again. Not until the disc format itself completely changes, and then of course you got to change. But they'll probably still keep the disc format around. I mean, DVD's still around. I mean, if it keeps going on the way it goes, DVD will probably surpass the laserdisc format, with how long the laserdisc format was around for, until that was phased out, retired. I know. Was laserdisc phased out, retired due to cost? Was it technical aspects that, even though some transfers on laserdisc have engineers know that these problems are usually inherent in the video transfer, let's try and improve it and get cut around it and minimize it. I mean, they did a transfer of there was a transfer of Capricorn 1 that went through. It gives on the back of the jacket of the cover, it gives the details of what process the transfer went through to improve. And it's not a bad transfer on Capricorn 1. It's not bad. This Tech Wars is not too bad. I mean,
300, right?
it's not bad.
Hey, what the whiz pushed during the credits on his
It's not
free
bad at all.
source.
Yeah, I suppose also Tech Wars a bit like the other movie. What's it called? Came out a few years later. What was it called now? It's kind of like a virtual reality movie or something. What was it called? Strange Days. That's it. This Tech War is a bit like Strange Days because I'm seeing all these cliches. I mean, if I wasn't playing with the soundtrack and I was just seeing the visual images, would I see the cliches? I got nothing too much against cliches. I just noticed, because generally films are out of ideas, and so they got to look for new ways to keep fueling. I'm not a big film junkie. I'm not a big film junkie like most other people are, where they got probably 10,000 laser discs or something, and 50,000 DVDs and 8,000 Blu-ray discs and a few hundred 4K discs. Not that I would personally buy 4K. I'm not really into the 4K disc format anymore. It's turned me off because the way they're messing it up. It's turned me off. And there's still a lot of Laserdisc titles, but eventually I'm going to have to say, that's it, I can't buy any more titles, Laserdisc, because I just haven't got the storage space for them. And don't buy many DVDs. I probably buy Laserdisc now at probably about that sort of ratio. It's hard to say on the percentage, but I buy Laserdisc at about that percentage ratio sort of thing now. DVD maybe a little bit, maybe around about that. HDVD, I've completely abandoned HDVD. I'm not interested in that format anymore because it's not proven to always play, because you could still probably get some discs that, even if they're not Warner Brothers, they might have slight snags playing. So I only got what I have now, and there's only a few titles that do play. Blu-ray discs, so from Laserdisc down to DVD to probably Blu-ray discs. I'd probably buy them about that much. 4K discs, I buy them about that much. Maybe once every few years now, because it's a rubbish format. It just doesn't give me the pinch. It doesn't give me the flashback, because I end up looking at something and it just looks too DNR'd, or if it has had some DNR, it's got a fake digital grain noisy effect that they apply on the image to make it look like it's got grain when it's not. It's a post edit. It's a post grain effect that you can buy and apply it. It's Photoshop sort of thing. It's Photoshop time. Really, shame on the studios. It's too bad I didn't record too many off-air broadcasts when because most of the off-air ones, you'll be able to see a degree of grain in the image, as well as as scratches and Q dots, depending on depending on what it is, a film or if it's a TV show or something. It looks what it is, and probably had to go through a conversion scan until it got to the UK, and it kind of looks a bit, what the heck they've done to the image, because it's not gone for a proper transfer. It's gone for a cheap, kind of like what they did with Star Wars, those early editions, and then they turned up onto the UK market on VHS tape. But everyone noticed how bad they looked because they were just cheap conversions from the NTSC, and then they had to redo it again. And then the new digital PAL versions came out, and they looked far better. They had a bit more color to it. They were just slightly better. I've had those transfers, but don't have them anymore. Sold them years ago. Wow, this film's not too bad.
Take your money back, man. Double the credits for the boy. Double. Okay, go.
It's not too bad, this tech war.
Contact. 2 enterprise messages transmitted from Bahrain, another from Malaysia.
Damn! What's wrong?
He's over the education man.
I'll never make it.
It's not too bad.
I can't make it.
It's almost better than Oppenheimer. Wow, it's got sound movement. It's way better than Oppenheimer. The sound mix on that Oppenheimer, which was absolutely atrocious.
Shall we help them?
Oh, it's William Shatner. It's William Shatner. Oh, wow.
What?
Wow.
It's like somebody waved a magic wand and put a bullet channel for me to get in. Nailed it. Not less 2,000. Marine biological.
I like that what's it thing they got in. They got a prop in this movie that I've seen in some other movie or something. I think it's some sort of disco tech thing. There's some sort of prop over in the corner with loads of red LED lights or something.
Come on, right now we don't have much time. Keep going up. And there's so much in life. Where's Liz?
So many kids at school like that, and you were guilty?
No, they were fixed. You gotta believe that, son.
You broke your word to people who trusted you. Your partners died because of you.
Take 10 seconds. Listen, son, I gotta see it.
I can't see you dead. I just can't.
I love you, son.
Stay away.
Penny. No, that's it, man. Silent hands on us. Come on, we gotta evaporate. The court finds you guilty and sentences you to 15 years in cryogenic incarceration.
Yeah, it's just like Demolition Man, this movie. And yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's probably the best movie since, it's way better than Oppenheimer. Oh, yeah. William Shatner's Tech War. It's all about the technology. It's all about the technology, the tech. Oh gosh, yes. Flipping exhausted. Feel my arms, everything. I feel absolutely exhausted from cycling yesterday. Oh, not the best. I should have took a bus. Should have took a bus. Plus, it's still cold weather outside. Ugh. My heart and everything is still not 100%. Everything is still parameters are not 100%. At the moment, sat down, calm, and feel like I may be at maybe plus 90%. But once I stand up and start moving around, that ratio goes from plus 90, and then it just completely goes down to maybe somewhere in a plus 70 to maybe very low 80% ratio sort of thing, because I'm still feeling, yeah. But the difference with mounting and cycling is totally different to walking, because the pressures are totally different. The dynamic pressures on the muscles and the rest of the body are completely different. But if I overdo it a little bit too much, too fast on the bike, then I start noticing, yeah, I can't cycle 30 mile an hour. I'm at best speed probably 15, 18 mile an hour.
I put my butt on the line for you, man. Don't do this to me.
This tekwar is
Where are you acting like one?
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
You gotta face the pain, Jake. There's no easy way out.
Some up a snag again.
Jake, since you've been on Iris, they put out newer, more powerful tech. Not like the stuff we used to.
More powerful tech.
This junk is major. You do enough.
This junk is major.
You don't come back.
Kind of like James Cameron's. James Cameron. He's got a bit of a tech war thing going with his bloody AI rubbish. Oh. I would have thought everyone would be pretty pissed off with all this AI nonsense. You know, there's quite a lot that don't really like it. AI being used in something else, that is, other than movies. But yeah. If someone could come along and actually show James Cameron, here's some actual dog crap, and if you really do apply it, and then just take a cloth and just with a cloth and wipe it, it really makes your movies look like the creme de la creme. It looks like virtual reality. He'd probably damn well use it. He probably would. I think it's like anyone that comes across a technology, as long as it's used, maybe say like if I use a technology and I apply it here, and it's cheap, it's not expensive, and it can do a few improvements. But you know, you still got a switch there. You could bypass it or switch it on. Wow, that's pretty neat. That architecture of that building, this building there with very tall architectural structures and such. Anyway, um, this Tech War's got it all. Oh look, it's William Shatner. It's William Shatner.
Thanks for springing me. Question is why?
Fair question. Simple answer. I thought we could be of help.
What kind of help? You first.
It's Danny Crane.
Jake, if there was something more I could do for you, what would that be?
He looks like Danny Crane. Anyway.
But worth the effort. For an innocent man. So what do I do for you?
Oh boy.
Investigators will have come by all reports to invest. At least 6 months. On a basis, if you're as good as they say you are. And I'll put whatever limited resources I have at my disposal in your case. Single malt branch water. Did I get it right? What else you know about me? Everything. Sandra, let's see what you have.
Dr. Leon Kittredge, research fellow at the Cybernetic Institute. Missing without a trace for 7 days.
Cosmos represents the insurance company that holds the policy on Professor Frank.
Kittredge was working in the fiercely competitive field of advanced laser imaging, so industrial espionage is always a possibility, as is defection to the competition.
Who had last contact with Kittredge? Dr. Hilden Dannenberg, associate professor at the Institute. This came in early this morning.
Mr. Maston, I need to see you right away. It's about the disappearance of Leon Kittredge.
I'll send my driver again.
No, I'm being watched. I'll let you know where and when.
The where and when came by secure complex just moments ago. As far as this case is concerned, I take it you and Gomez have renewed your partnership. I can take it. He can. Let's face it, you lost with him. A concession to your parole restrictions, the latest in plasma propellant. Technically non-lethal. Simple missing person case, huh?
So, like a update on the Abyss and the slip covers. I mean, the slip cover and the artwork on that Abyss 4K is absolutely atrocious. This is what I do with the slip cover. I tied it to the cat scratching post and I put a little bit of extra hair on Ed Harris's hair. So I felt, the hair's it's from the string that's got pulled out here, on the scratching post. And I kind of stuck it on his, to give it a little extra, realism. And it's got a bit of a 3D realism, Because James Cameron, he likes doing 3D shit, doesn't he? I'm surprised he didn't turn that into 3D shit. Oh, dear. Oh. Yeah. Thank goodness he didn't turn the Abyss into 3D crap like what he tried to do with Titanic. Yeah, thank goodness for that. You imagine the uproar.
Someone who's trying to divert attention. Someone inside the organization.
One of our guys?
Hey, whoever set it up, they had to know the whole scan.
Jackie boy? That decrease might have broken all your brain cells. There's Dannenberg and right on time. I'm gonna get it. Oh no. Get back!
Wow, this Tech War's got everything in it. Got a lot of action. There was hardly any action in Oppenheimer. Oh, you know. You know, it's just a lot of people kind of sitting around and just talking for 3 hours. Not hardly any motion, hardly any action. It was dreadful, atrocious movie, that Oppenheimer. Oh dear.
Over a bucket of nuts and bolts, pal. You gotta tell me what's going on. Give it to me straight.
Boss, come on, give me the details. Watch. Sometimes in these games.
What are you doing, Madge? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Another miraculous escape, Cardigan. Maybe he had another lapse of memory. Well, it isn't a Tin Man or a Little Dark. Still a funny guy, Cardigan. Well, I wasn't there when they brought him up with left of your partners. They were those kids. They were good. I lived with them 2 years. Put that case together. They were like family. Yeah, of course, your record with family speaks for itself. But spare me the innocent act, will you? I saw the recordings of you depositing tech credits in all those Honduran accounts. It can be altered. The experts were unanimous. No digital manipulation occurred. You sold out to Sonny Hikori and the Tech Wars, and I am personally going to put you back on ice. I'd like to know why you pulled that backup team off. You had an officer under fire. You want to know what I think? I think that you're on Hikori's payroll. Yeah, they went through all that during the trial, but you don't remember, do you? You were still coming down from your tech OD. Stop dreaming, Jake. I play by the rules. And start a band. You were still coming down from your tech OD. Stop dreaming, Jake. Stop dreaming, Jake. I play by the rules. And start a band. And start a band. I don't like being lied to, Bascom. Now, what the hell do the tech lords and the kamikaze androids have to do with a routine insurance case?
I was waiting to see how long it would take the real Jake Cardigan to thaw out, etc. Professor Kittredge has developed a device that will destroy the circuits of all the tech chips everywhere in the world.
This is a simulation of that transmitting crystal based on our best information.
It can't be done.
Assume for the moment it can be. See how that would make Kittredge a target for the tech lords.
We do have evidence the professor was attempting to flee into the wilderness belt to avoid his own assassination. The rebel movement there is known to be in sympathy with the war against tech. The vehicle's security systems were breached by laser attack, and signs of struggle were found inside, along with the professor's case. Less than 24 hours after the professor was last seen, Beth Kittredge, the professor's daughter, filed a flight report that would have taken her over the same forest where her father's car was found. We assume her intention was to join him. Satellite surveillance has confirmed that a craft meeting the description of Miss Kittredge's landed in Rebel territory.
Can I get a better look at the door?
You still with us, Cardigan? Beth's journey into the wilderness area, hot in the heels of her father, suggests they were seeking sanctuary with the rebel movement. Let me guess where this is going. Warburn. Rumor has it, back in the early days of the movement before it turned violent, we were allies, friends, even bedroll partners. Why didn't you tell me this up front? You were to be kept in the dark until I decided you should be trusted. Sit out the equation. I have to take a chance. Looking for 2 people in that terrain is a hopeless task, even for an agency of our resources. War bribes.
All she cares about saving that wilderness. She thinks bastards like you are the enemy.
But it's your job to persuade her to help us.
Doing it right. There's something going on in that devious brain of yours that has nothing to do with saving this world from tech.
No, you should learn to be more appreciative.
Gratitude doesn't come easy.
What about trust?
Trust is a two-way street.
Cardigan. Take you out of the prison. I can put you back in.
And you would too. Damn. 2 pops could take out a 90-pound flower girl.
Out of the prison. Take you out of the prison. I can put you back in. You out of the prison. I can put you back in.
And you would too. Damn. 2 pops could take out a 90-pound flower girl.
That's interesting. You see a vehicle driving down a road. You got these like screens or advertisement things. That's more or less what you see now today. Sometimes you see it over in London. Sometimes you see it over a dual carriageway somewhere, or it's video large LED advertisement screens. Back then, back in the 90s, that you really wouldn't see that, because you'd still see advertisements that would be on the side of buildings or something, or maybe so, but it's probably some sort of paper thing, and it rolls around a little bit and then shows you a different advertisement of products to buy that we think we should be buying. We need to buy. We need these advertisement products in our lives. But now, it's just LED screens, and they can just change it at will. So you don't have to send someone out there to do the putting the glue on and then putting the paper on the billboard. So yeah, tech. William Shatner's very visionary with what possibly might be around.
Of course you do. Everybody deals with us whether they know it or not. Don't you remember the last time you were here?
But then, and anyone's a visionary. If we can dream an idea, then it can possibly, most likely, be invented.
That's where you killed your partners. Right where you're standing. How would you know that, you son of a bitch? You were selling us tech, you confiscated on the seats. Your partners discovered where you're up to, so you killed us to save yourself and your precious lie. Why would I lie to you, Dick? We're the same, you and I. We both deal with the weak and needy. You know how it works. Dick? You either take it or you get tough. High definition hologram, Dick. You've been in the prison too long. You go to hell.
You take the basics of this tech war sort of thing and sort of, make it a little bit, because it's a bit TV movie. It's kind of TV movie. Wow. Wow, that was cool. Wow, that was neat. Wow, tekwar.
Should have stayed in the freezer, my friend. Should have stayed in the freezer, my friend. At least you don't feel the pain. It was acceptable, even useful to my people when you were inside. Now you're out poking around where you don't belong. Feet first. Take your time. Have fun with it. By the way, Jake, Minute Stan says your wife's the best. Stan says your with it.
It's interesting when they have these sound effects, and I can see where the actual object is, and they put a sound effect to it. But the way this sound effect is sounding, it sounds a little bit too widespread, sort of thing. When if it was even even if it was projected, it has this kind of stereo-y kind of effect, but that kind of stereo-y kind of effect should be a bit more narrow. It's not an opinion because it's trying to place, psychoacoustic effect. Otherwise, if it was just having the sound effect without any widespread sound or anything, then it's going to be mono, and then it's going to be more sounding in the middle sort of thing, in the middle rather than out here sort of thing. Because it's just simply there's just simply not enough speaker channels going behind the screen. I think the five screen needs to have additional speakers that are so that the center channel, where the center channel is located, should have another row of speakers that are literally next beside it, and then another row, and that you should really build the speakers up without spreading them apart, sort of thing. Keep them fairly close, but then the problem there is how long is a piece of string? How big is that screen, that projection screen? It could be programmed so that it knows how many speakers are being applied, and then renders. Yeah, that render thing, that render word, but Dolby Labs use now. Render. It could alter the sound field, but and place these sounds. So if it's stereo, going to be very, very pretty close to the actual center middle. It would still have a degree. You would notice it, just as if we would notice in real life. Except the other problems is everything is flat. It's behind a screen. If it's it has to be behind projection screen. Or you could, you have your OLED, it's up there, and then you got a row of speakers literally going, and then a row going down beside, and then literally, the OLED sort of goes boom in the middle, and you literally cluster everything, the wall where it is, literally cluster, and then hide it all. change that over manually. That was a pretty short-sided laserdisc on that side. On side A. So yeah, you got a cluster of speakers, literally. Literally. It's better behind the projection screen because then, because you got the OLED, you got to put speakers around it and above and below it, so sounds move. So when you see images, and depending on the psychoacoustics where the camera is turning, so if the camera is looking forward at a subject and then the camera turns around, you know that the other person that was talking on screen, their voice now should come from behind, but there's no image. There's no image there. You got to imagine that, unless you film something with, oh gosh, how many cameras? I think this has been done, or you get cameras now that can see all this, and problem with it, a room, whether it's curved or circular or the walls are straight, ceiling, floor, and everything, the image is going to look very distorted and very weird. It wouldn't look anything like real life. It's like studios and technologies. It's like most other people are bored with their lives, and maybe most percentage of us have become lazy because we want to be wrapped up in some fantasy world that's a little bit different than our own world of reality, and we want to see whether it. I don't know. It depends. Depends what each of our habits desire. Otherwise, when I see films and footsteps and people walking around,
why would a Corey want to finance an invention that would destroy his own empire?
Depending on where the screen speakers are located, the cinema screen speakers are located, and how the bass levels, the bass cab is set up, and the HF horn and the frequency response and all, and a little bit more than just tuning, a little bit more than that, because in most cases, what I often notice in films, cinema sometimes, and I notice footsteps, and sometimes I notice sound. It's got a 3-dimension. Well, I suppose it'd be a 2-dimensional, or it's got a dimensionality where the sound is kind of going up and down, sort of thing. If and that's because going from the bass cab to the HF horn, and how the frequencies change and move side to side, or in panning, or sounds are fixed in positions, music playing left, right, maybe. There's no music in the center channel at some point until they blend and mix, and then it comes into the center along with effects or dialogue panning, or directional dialogue, along with directional footsteps. So where every performer's walking around on screen, the footsteps are tracking and following that position, just as if it were in real life. Because I can't think of anything where you got someone talking on screen, you hear their voices, and you can see them walking around. And I'm thinking, how come their footsteps aren't moving around? How come their voice is not moving and tracking and moving around to create because if the camera's there and I'm moving around over here, my voice would go over there, and they'll go there. If I go downward, my voice would go downward, and you'd hear it looking downward. And if it goes up this position, up and up and up, it's then above the screen. It's off screen, and not off screen sounds, on screen sounds. Oh, but at the end of the day, everything's limited to the mixing, which could be done separately in different tracks. It can be done separately, multi. But it's the encoding, and it's like, well, this encoding can only store these many channels and play them back at it with the decoding, and that's what we're stuck. That's what their mixers are stuck with. When it should be like, wow, this Tech War is not too bad movie. It's not too bad. I could get into it.
All systems are now operational.
I really get into this Tech War.
Access last data entry. Project XB309. Final phase.
My system is currently dormant. If you wish to complete physical activation, enter code 7-4 on main console control. Adjust power level control to 30.514%.
So any things we do in real life, real world, make it. We make our own sound effects. I'm fully aware of it every time I do it, but there's a lot of people that are not aware. They got something else on their mind. They want all this like as an entertainment and think, just to show off, but they got other hobbies where they're more interested in. But for those that are interested in this, and where Atmos is at the moment, it's not even the tip of the iceberg. Atmos is a bloody toy. It's not even. I can't even consider it to be a professional sound system. It's a toy. Because really, in this day and age, it should be way better than. But no, Dolby Labs.
I'm an android.
They're kind of jumped ahead way too quick without thinking. And now they got their product out there for 10 years, hasn't had any significant upgrades or anything to improve this 3D sound with a below surround, as well as improving the screen channels and the side and the everything. You can't just have a row of speakers literally overhead. It doesn't work. It doesn't sound right. And all this nonsense about angle the speakers and they get the degree angle. And, oh dear, really. Most people wouldn't have a bloody clue. You need, if you got friends, that are like really into it, and you'll help them, they help you, and you think, well, we'll come up with something like this. Screw Dolby Labs own whatever. Let's improve it. Let's see if it can be that part out there can be improved. And I've done that. I've improved it. But I still have the same sort of gaps in the overheads. I've still got gaps in the speakers, and in reality, you know, it's like if it was raining, okay, and I'm not saying that rain should sound overhead. Rain would only sound overhead. You would only hear it overhead with specifics. Say if you're in a car, you hear it on the roof. You hear it very uniformly, but very. And you take the uniformity of it. Those raindrops are extremely narrow, and you got multitudes of that coming on the roof, and it's like those raindrops may as just well be very individual loudspeakers, very tiny type of loudspeakers. There's nothing as very tiny yet that can do very high dynamic range, high power handling, blah blah, SPL level. It will never get that way, because the end of the day, all you could do is a recording, sound messing around sound. You can only do an approximation, and that is it. You can't go any further than that. Otherwise, speakers are still plastered on the walls, the ceilings, on the floor. You can't put speakers in little positions around us. It would be intimidating. But we do that. That there, I'm making a hand. That's a sound. That's a speaker. That's making a sound. And where I am in three-dimensional space within the room, if I move over a little bit and did the clapping again, and do all this repeated sort of thing, the psychoacoustic of the sound and the reflections coming back to my ears within milliseconds, the time arrivals, first arrival, second arrival, third and fourth and whatever arrival times, it will sound slightly different.
I'm curious, Jake.
But at the end of the day, yeah, it's like microphones, a single microphone, which is mono, picking up the sound. And
my wife used to work for
trying to get the frequency response. It's like
you're a machine. Things you'll never understand, no matter how much
where the microphone's placed or where the speaker's placed, because you could have the microphone in the position and then move any one of the speakers differently in a different position within the room. The frequency response is going to change. Take those microphones, take those speakers outdoors, do that same thing again. Frequency response is a little bit better, because we don't have the walls, but the walls of ceiling and slightly compressing the sound and changing the frequency wavelength, because the frequency would have a specific wavelength that's shorter than the room. It could be shorter than the room, or it could be longer than the room. And where the loudspeakers are positioned, like if you play, I suppose, a 1 kilohertz sine wave tone, and you got to really keep the speaker. You really got to have a room that's pretty wide, so there's enough room for some of these frequencies, so that they won't sound a little weirdish. Because if you got a speaker that's bang up close to near a side wall, and then you got the center channel way over there, it's meters, many feet away, or inches or millimeters away from the side walls, as well as the ceiling and the floor. The speaker's got to be at a specific height. If you put the speaker, mine, I can't talk really, because my HFs are pretty near close to the ceiling almost, but they should be a little bit lower down because they're very large speakers, and I can only do so much. I could realistically only lower the speakers down and only get them maybe so that the bass cab will be a certain distance away from the floor, and the HF horn would be a little bit for a few more inches away, many inches more away from the ceiling. But the speakers are really, realistically, you know, otherwise the wavelengths, 20,000 kilohertz, well, that's very small, but even still, you know, otherwise it changes the wavelength, the characteristic shape of the, if using it, whether it's sine wave or pink noise, and you narrow the filters on the Room EQ Wizard, so you narrow the filtering, so the pink noise would only sound very narrow, and look at the characteristics, and you know, where you move a speaker a little bit nearer to the side walls, and then move it away more to the middle, and listen to how it actually tonally changes its sound. Otherwise, we think, you know, oh, the speakers have got to be very wide. That's okay, providing there was enough speakers. Literally, boom, 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 boom. I mean, I wouldn't mind. Well, how big is the screen? How big is the speakers got to be? If it's a cinema, depending on the size, the width of the width height of the auditorium to where the screen's going to be located. Typically, you look at most cinemas today, they got 3 speakers. Some will have 5 if it's you know, an Atmos. They'll have the additional left center, right center. That's adopted from the Cinera, the Todd AO sort of format sort of thing back in the late 50s, for 70 mil. I would say you could get at least, well, some cinemas that I've seen recently, I'd say in one cinema, I could say they could get at least the same JBL speaker going, you know, that way across the screen, where they usually are. They got 5 speakers in that screen number 10. 3 speakers in the in all the other auditoriums, just 3, typical LCR. I would say they could probably put in another 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 4 or maybe 5 more speakers. So you got the left, center, right, and in between the left and the center, I guess they can stuff another 5 speakers. So they literally all they're coupled. They're all coupled, and you go across that way, and then go above it, and then put another cluster, literally the same. And if there's any more room above that, then another cluster, and then below, another cluster and another cluster, until it's literally down near as close to the floor. And then you can create an atmospheric, if it's outdoors, you know, like a scene in this tekwar sort of thing, outdoors, and you've got things moving around like bushes and breeze, sound, you know, you'd hear all these very subtleties of nuances. Then, you know, it's also depends on where the audience is sat, because if you, it's just like real life. You see something, you see a bush, you can, in very good definition, moving around, fluttering in the breeze, and you're probably about maybe 100 foot of distance away from it. You can see it, but when you walk in closer to that object, and walking closer and walking closer and closer and closer, then you start hearing all the movement in the object, that the bush. You hear all the movement of it moving with the wind breeze. When you go a bit further away from it, that sound of all those details that then condenses down into a single, like a mono sound, because too far away from it. So if there's any audiences that are very far away back in the auditorium, the sounds on the screen realistically should sound a little bit distant, because you've got to create psychoacoustics, you know, like how loud is that auditorium, the noise floor, what's the NC rating? 30, they say, is typical. 30 noise criteria is typical, and some dubbing stages or whatever might have a lower noise floor rating.
Hold him in his quarters till I have a chance to question him.
Got to create, psychoacoustics. There's not a whole lot of that's not really applied much in Dolby Atmos rubbish. I mean, especially these up mixes. Oh crikey, they've got no psychoacoustic effect to it at all. It sounds very synthetic and plastic, like the bloody Abyss up mix. Oh, it took me just less than a few minutes just to suss out how badly it was remixed. But all the other most other sounds were in the usual positions. It's just some sounds were placed in new positions with the speaker location, but placed kind of inaccurate slightly. Like there's a sound, dialogue sound in the Abyss that's off screen in the surrounds, and it's with a submarine scene where the submarine loses power, and then the motors, they come back on, and you can hear someone in the background in the mono matrix surrounds on a Dolby Stereo 424. On the DVD, it sounds like the DVD's had a slight, I don't know if it's had a slight remix or it's off the bat totally original to the, I don't think it is, because the surrounds should be 100% mono. They shouldn't have any stereo effect. They should be 100% mono, full range sound, discrete, because it was a 70mm format 42 release. It didn't have split surround, the Abyss, and I doubt the special edition either had a split surround, because I think they made that print release just for 35mm, not 70mm. And I think they would have used maybe Dolby SR, maybe for maybe Dolby SR on it. Oh, that's an interesting sound. I always hear that cliche sound effect. Yeah, I always hear that bleep sound effect in these sci-fi movies. Always hear that kind of these cliche sound effects.
I'm not sure this is such a hard idea.
See, even if I do a sound like that, I can hear it on going whooshy, 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 whooshy on both sides like that, and that's within a very narrow area. See, you don't have to have very wide stereos, Yeah, this movie's just like virtual reality, and
I'm Beth.
it's just like virtual reality, tech war.
met a man.
It's interesting when I saw a doctor yesterday at the hospital, because it's not for my heart; it's for another medical issue, condition.
No.
She thought I was a musician, so I said, "What do you do?" I said, "I got well, you've got a lot of loudspeaker fell on my head." And she thought, "Oh, you play musical instruments?" And I said, "No, just a home cinema, that's all." And it's, "Oh, what like Dolby?" She said, because I was very surprised to hear that from a doctor. And she really understood. And I said like, like when you see that Dolby logo, yeah, you see the logo, you see it kind of like that, like it looks like a D and a D. And I say, well, the D on the left side, that's the encoding part, and then the D on the right side, that's the the D on the right side. The D on the left side is the encode, and the D on the right side is the decoding. So when you fold them, when you flip them, they come together. So I explain, very quickly, very quick, Dolby sound and all that came around the late 1960s, first used for post for sound for music recording, and then in the early 1970s, with the state of the noise on film and such, it found its way being adopted and cleaning up the sound and making it better. And then the first Dolby Stereo film with surround and such optical soundtrack brought A Star Is Born, and then the most popular one coming along was Star Wars 77, and then going into the 1980s with Dolby SR, and then early 90s with digital sound, CDS, STDS, DDS, blah, 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 and then coming right up to more or less where it is now. And just telling the doctor, I said, well, Atmos, and she kind of vaguely understood and knew what Atmos may be. But I said it's a bullshit, it's a BS format. It's not a real 3D sound format, because sound always does it on this level here, and then it goes up to this heights, the overhead speakers up here, and then it just comes back down again. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything more. And I say, look, I mean, it's like if I get an object, I pick an object up on a table, and then drops it on the floor, and it makes a sound. And but if you hear that in a movie, that sound is going to be up somewhere up here. And it doesn't make sense. Especially, it depends on the angle, the viewing angle, to create psychoacoustics. Depends on, a whole lot of multitudes of. It's exhausting talking about this, It's exhausting.
That's why you're in my dreams.
Very, very few people like myself that understand and are crazy and kind of waiting for this new encode, decoding to come along. And then
Jake! You were right, Vargas was a traitor. We found the proof when we searched them. Here, take a look. I think you're going to find some interest.
Problem is
I got your message.
how
Under no circumstances is Carter going to meet with War Bride.
really,
I don't care how you do it, Vargas. Let's do it.
might as well just have something that can do really everything.
Remove our friend Corey.
And
fill it in.
it's trying to get the cost of it down so it's cheap, because when you think of real world sound, it's absolutely free, but the quality of it goes way beyond high end. It's like a real musical instrument versus a recording, and some like high end audiophile, luxury, all this. If they want to keep thinking that delusion, You might as well just buy a fucking musical instrument and learn to bloody play it. And then it's like a violin versus a recording of a violin. You have to record it yourself and then play it back over a loudspeaker. Does it sound like a violin? If you close your eyes or you can't see the speaker, because I can't see my screen speakers, so basically it's blind listening, you know? It's double blind testing. And in fact, when you go to a cinema, in most cases, you are double blind listening to the screen. You don't know where the screen speakers are located, what type they are. You can look around the auditorium, yeah, you see the bloody overheads and the bloody side surrounds and the back surrounds. They're totally visible. They're not like they've tried to hide them, yeah, and make it double blind listening test. And then take an edge. A cinema chain, very few cinema chains will probably dare to take an edge and defy some of the Dolby specification and then improve and then think, let's see if the audience notices it, you know? And only very few will notice, and the other percentage are not going to notice.
Okay.
So do you.
Good life agrees with you.
I don't want to get into this with you.
It's like when you hear birds flying around outside, it's versus some sort of rubbish Dolby Atmos movie.
He's my son.
The bird sounds, they sound so synthetic. The whole recording itself sounds so synthetic. You could do quite a lot with these overhead surrounds by keeping it very stereo, by keeping panning and shifting, depending on how a scene changes, and keep atmospheric psychoacoustics and pressures of the pressure change the sound of a room, because if you go in different rooms, they have different kind of size. You go in a room and be very silent, you can sense the size of that room, be it empty, be it absorbed entirely. You can sense, our ears can sense because I can sense. If I raise my hand up near to my ear, I sense a change in the pressure. And you need to apply that into but there's not a lot of sound engineers, or they're probably not a lot of, they don't know it all. You could train a chimpanzee to use a bloody mixing console, for Christ's sake. But if they're not going to go and if they're not going to bother and go to the effort of making every movie sound like then they might as well just use something else, Might as well just use a different recording approach technique. To capture, and so that you hear sounds in the not just this level plane, and maybe a bit of that. You got to have below as well. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point of all this marketing BS bullshit? Like, the sound field is like a hemisphere, or this sound field is like a sphere, a bubble. They say with Dolby bullshit Atmos, it's a bubble of sound. A bubble is a sphere. In case most of you didn't get the memo, it's not a hemisphere. Although if we're on a ground plane, we've got a ground plane here, right? The floor. Yeah, it will be a kind of hemisphere. And if you go a little bit above it, by many, many, many feet way above, then it would be kind of like a sphere, not like a hemisphere, because now you're a bit of distance away from the ground plane. And so that the sound imaging will completely change. This tekwar is absolutely brilliant. It's got William Shatner in it.
Further. Now, turn right and walk forward. The entrance should be a little further. Further. A little further. Now, turn right and walk forward. The entrance should be right there.
It's absolutely brilliant. I think tekwar should be.
I hate to disappoint you. The only thing in front of us is a 60-foot drop to the water. Could you check your coordinates again?
Should be mixed in a. You know.
The entrance has to be.
Someone's got to come along with something better than Atmos, you know, because Atmos is just long in the tooth now. You know, it's just bloody bore feast. Though many people say, oh yeah, the content and all that, the overhead is better usage and better than Oro and DDSX. Where's DESX going with? Oh wow, that's a good visual effect. That's a good visual effect. That's not bad. Where they create, it's almost like a Stargate effect. And this came out 94. Stargate came out 94. It's a bit like a Stargate effect. A bit like a Stargate effect.
I don't feel good about this.
It's not bad. Not bad.
We only have a 15-second margin of error, gentlemen. Put your masks on.
That's clever.
We're in.
Apologies accepted.
We only have a 15-second margin of error, gentlemen. Put your masks on.
Oh, that's clever. See, things like that could come along. You know, that's better than Mission Impossible. That put your mask on. That's like it's like a cliche to Mission Impossible. Yeah. See, most people they don't understand the process of Atmos, and you know, basically, you know, it's just another tool where you could just move sound and pan it. Overhead is not a big deal. Overhead speakers have been around for decades. They've been around for decades. In selected some cinemas don't even say they're using overhead. They don't brag about it or anything. But they've been around for quite a while. You know, there's very few people, very few people that would think sound should be there and there's there. But this is all this Dolby thing can do. And so, yeah, you know, or this is all that loudspeakers can do. And
You know what? Essential. Put a trace on Kitchener's computer.
Already working on it. The northeast corner, one level up.
Someone. I read a comment, and it said, "You might as well just wear headphones." But even if you wear headphones, you don't get any sense of a height anything above or anything below you. You don't get any sense of that. Not an actual real sense, mind you. You hear the sound slightly better without the problems that are accompanied with loudspeakers in a room, or null frequencies, and all that issue, or because the headphones should be relatively the same frequency overlays, and when you wear you wear headphones, you could walk around the room and the sound stays the same. A sine wave tone will sound the same. It doesn't change. You play a sine wave live, or you play a sine wave over a PA speakers and walk around the room, it always changes. It's going up and down, up. But it's just like real life, real world sounds. They change. They move up and down. If you're walking towards someone, they're talking and that. But if you could do something that's repeated under a very controlled condition, it's very easy. You could have someone down here talking, and you can have a chair and have it on a track, and then move that chair along the track, so it's just moving forward and then back while someone's repeating the same words over and over and over as best they can. Okay, you would hear it slightly different every sort of time. So if you move the seat 1 foot a time, it gradually changes its shape, its size. It's near the end of this movie now. It's not much left of it, but it's not been a bad laserdisc transfer. And some of the mixing in it is not bad. It's not bad. The sound field it's because it's Dolby surround. It's Dolby surround. It's not bad. It's not too bad. With mixing and sound editing and such, and creating sounds and overlays on tracks and different and create
Let's figure out what the real Corey did.
yeah. Oh wow, that was a neat sound surround effect.
Let's figure out what the real Corey did.
That's not bad. This tech war is almost better than Oppenheimer, and
By the way, Jake, you're under arrest. On what charge? We just gave you the biggest bust of your career. It's my case, and all the evidence is under my jurisdiction. Then take your look. Cardigan, stop. You're under arrest. Something you don't know about Jake. He has problems taking orders. We all follow orders, Mr. Gomez. One way or another.
Stop. So you're one of her Corys now.
thought you were dead.
That was my intention. But I'm very much alive, and I intend to stay that way. Give me the crystal.
You saved my life. I wouldn't hurt you.
I know what they can do to someone with enough time, with enough tech.
The same reason you are, Beth. To get rid of tech.
I don't believe you.
Where?
I'll handle it.
I'm just doing my job. The servant of the people.
Voice.
My job. Servant of the people. Put it down, miss. Take it to me.
You know, again, it's like the microphone. You see how you see the size of the actual microphone capsule. That's very tiny. It's very tiny. And when you're moving it, you should be moving very small little bits at a time. Very small, to measure all this bullshit frequency response, and basically to get the frequency response to be, well, it's possible, but it takes a lot of effort to get it absolute flat. Absolute. So you got enough amplifier power, and you get the bass driver and the HF horn, and you get them absolute perfect flat. Because if you do a frequency response on headphones with the microphone, but you still get these ups and down slopes, but looking at it in high resolution, that is. There might sometimes be very odd ones where it's getting up to the very high frequency where it goes very wiggly, too much wiggles. And do those two headphones each side look the same, with the overlay? And if you get another pair of the same headphone and do a frequency sweep on that and another pair, so you got three, and compare the overlays, are there any, say, like defects? Maybe with the actual component. At the end of the day, because our hearing response and or you look at a frequency sweep on a processor or an amplifier, it always looks very smooth. It may lower down. And if it has a roll off, then that should be flat because everything else is nearly. And then you look at the low end frequency response, and you can see how far that's sloping off. And there's obviously a really big filter there that's doing that, because it should be going flat, literally, whoom. But we don't hear like that because our hearing's not flat like that. And so, if you, oh wow, it's the end credits. William Shatner.
Skies are filled with miracles, and half of them are lying. Are you real or not? It's a fine line. Are you real or not? Are you real or not? These are strange times, and I don't want to live this way. When you wake up from a nightmare, it's worse when you're awake. There's no one you can turn to. There's nothing you can take.
It's like this bass drum sort of bum 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 in the center with the vocals in the center. Little subtlety of stereo-ish on the left and right. And some surround echoey effect moving in the monomatrix surround. Oh, Dolby surround. Dolby surround. $1993. Oh wow. Oh wow, that was the tech war. All right, over and out.